kind of looking forward to this one because I'm going to finally talk about a topic that I've had on my list to talk about for a little while, but just haven't felt aligned with my day or where my head was at the time. However, today was quite interesting. A friend of mine asked me a question about the importance of training abs. And I quite bluntly told him that I believe it's useless. Well, not literally, that's a dramatic way of putting it. But to an extent, I believe that training abs is pretty useless relative to training trunk stability and your hip flexors and your glute med to a lesser degree. And I found it was quite a fun discussion to have, because it that simple question led us down what was a very deep rabbit hole about the importance of abs and the importance of training them in an attempt to become a stronger person. And now this isn't me saying by any means that training your abs and doing some crunches is completely useless. I'm not saying that at all. What I am saying very definitively is that I believe, and a lot of research will back this up, that there is a lot more bang for your buck that could be trained to make you a stronger human being, if you are a man that is predominantly focused on just being a stronger man. I understand that some of these things don't align with certain bodybuilding principles, especially for women, because there's a risk of creating a slightly more block-like effect. But yeah, you get my point. So I was explaining to him quite simply that strengthening your trunk and your serratus anterior is far more, along with your hip flexors, your iliacus, your psoas, and your glute med, will be far more beneficial to you as somebody who is interested in becoming stronger than just training your abs alone. And the harsh reality is, if you eat well and are fairly lean, you shouldn't need any more than just using your core well on your compound list to create a six-pack, in my opinion. Now, obviously, there's going to be exceptions to that rule, and that's not even a rule, but just generally speaking, the point I'm trying to make is that if you use your core properly on those compound lifts, your abdominal muscles should be used to the point where that they will maybe slower than doing your crunches or whatever, they'll grow. And it led me to realize that I hadn't been taking my own advice. It's been a long time now since I've had a hip problem for a very, very long time. And it's something that I've had all the information in the world to attack it with, but I just haven't, through sheer laziness and through sheer lack of willpower. However, after that conversation, when a friend was asking me the questions about it, I found myself in a conversation with another friend, and it just dawned on me that I'd been a coward and shied away from doing what I know needs to be done. And all the advice, I need to take my own advice. All the advice I just gave my other mate, I need to take on board and actually act upon it rather than just know it. And it kind of led me to think about, because to me it was very simple. It got me kind of frustrated at myself for realizing how simple fixing that problem is. You just apply the information that you have on fixing it. It's really that simple. I could go on for days about what it is that separates the elite athletes from us, and what it is, the little things, the little nuances that come with strengthening these seemingly insignificant parts of our body. But the harsh reality is just, you got the information, just apply it, get on with it and apply it. And it kind of made me think about how simple, I'm just going to briefly touch upon this, how simple pull-ups are, and how it kind of there's a lot of things when it comes to physical fitness that disappoint me when I hear somebody say certain things. And this is one of the big ones. I always find it quite disappointing when somebody talks about how their pull-ups are weak now because they're bulking. And to me, like, that's just as disappointing as the excuse of having a long femur and having a bad squat. Your pull-ups got bad because you stopped doing them, and you can't squat well because you're immobile. And that's coming from somebody whose femur is as long as their torso and can't squat well. I don't blame my proportions. Yes, leverage has changed things. That's without a doubt. However, until you reach a certain level of mobility, until your hips are so open that you can do the splits, then I can't really hear anything about, yeah, it's because of my bone structure. And in the same way, like, it kind of saddens me when people talk about how, oh yeah, my pull-up game is whack because I'm bulking and I'm heavy now. And I'm like, well, I'm the heaviest I've ever been right now. I'm currently floating between 94 kilos and 96 kilos. And I'm probably averaging throughout the week about 94.9, if I'm not mistaken. I think last week was like 95.1. I'll have to check that. I'm the heaviest I've ever been. I'm carrying more mass than I ever have around this planet. Yet my pull-ups, my chin-ups in particular, my pull-ups, so-so. They've lagged behind a little bit because I've been focused on chin-ups. But they're stronger than they've ever been. I'm able to get more reps on the bar than I ever have. And there's a simple reason for that. I never stopped doing pull-ups. And I think that rather than in most people's cases, because it was somebody, I can't remember who, but I was talking to somebody at the gym about it the other day, and I was just like, well, did you stop doing pull-ups? And I had a conversation with a friend who never stopped doing pull-ups, who's also the heaviest they've ever been. And I'm like, well, yeah, there's a theme here. If you don't stop doing pull-ups whilst you're getting heavier, then your pull-ups are just going to get stronger by default. Because if you put on a kilo in a week, then you're basically, relative to last week, you're just doing a pull-up with a kilo around your waist. It's a weighted pull-up in many ways. So yeah, it kind of made me realize like how simple things can be and how easy it is for us to overcomplicate these really minor elements of training. It's like if you preempt being bad at pull-ups because you're bulking and stop doing pull-ups, then yes, your pull-ups are going to fall to absolute But if you don't and you just continue to do them whilst you bulk and continue to do them weighted whilst you bulk, then your pull-ups are constantly going to keep up with you. So you're going to just keep packing on the pounds and your pull-ups are just going to keep getting better and better. And then guess what? You're going to be a strong mother. Okay? The game is simple, man. The game is real simple. And it kind of feels contradictory saying that after lecturing a friend on how, yeah, training abs is pointless. Train all these other little complicated, little nuanced elements of your body instead. But it's simple. It's really simple in my opinion. If you want to look good, yeah, do your crunches. If you want to perform well, do these little things. If you want to be good at pull-ups, do them. Yeah, it's a simple game. But the body is complicated. But it's kind of simple. Life is a contradiction. If you made it this far, thank you very much. And I shall see you tomorrow.